All right, let's jump right in. Every business out there eventually hits this fork in the road, especially when the economy gets a little rocky. It's a huge question. Do you start slashing prices to get more people in the door? Or do you double down on the quality that made you special to begin with? It really is the classic showdown, isn't it? Price versus quality.
So, let me put you in the driver's seat for a second. Imagine you're running a business, something you've poured your heart and soul into, but all of a sudden, sales are tanking. What's your first instinct? For a lot of people, it's let's have a sale, right? Cut those prices. But hold on, is that really the best move? We're going to explore this whole thing through the story of a premium coffee company that found itself in this exact spot.
So our story kicks off with something totally out of anyone's control, which is, how these things often start. The economy takes a nosedive. A recession hits.
And when the economy slows down, something predictable happens. We all start looking at our spending a little more closely. That premium coffee you used to buy every day without a second thought, well, now it feels like a luxury. Even your most loyal customers start to wonder if they should cut back. Money's tight for everybody.
And just so we're all on the same page, a recession is basically when the economy as a whole just slows down. People have less to spend, which of course means businesses are selling less. It's this tough cycle, and it forces companies to make some really hard choices. And this is where the pressure really starts to build. You look out your window, and the other coffee shops, they're already slashing prices. They've got big sale signs up trying to tempt people in. So the question isn't some abstract business school problem anymore. It's real, and it's happening right now. Do you jump in and join the price war?
Now, inside our coffee company, there's a big debate going on. One camp is saying, look, we got to lower prices just to survive. But the other side sees it as a trap. Let's dig into the very real dangers of getting into a price war.
So you can see the two sides of the coin here. Yeah, lowering your prices seems like the easiest way to get customers who are suddenly watching every penny. But what does that do to your brand, to your reputation? If you've spent years building a name based on being the best, what happens when you suddenly start trying to be the cheapest?
And this quote just hits the nail on the head. A price cut is never just a temporary thing. It sends a message to your customers. And that message might be, hey, maybe our coffee wasn't actually worth that higher price in the first place. You risk cheapening your brand in people's minds, maybe forever.
Because that's what a price war is. It's a race to the bottom. Everyone keeps cutting and cutting until nobody's making any real money. The whole focus shifts away from making a great product to just trying to survive. It's a short-term fix that can absolutely wreck your long-term plans.
Okay, so if competing on price is a race to the bottom, what's the alternative? Well, the other side of the argument is to do the complete opposite. You don't just stick to your guns on quality, you lean into it. You shout it from the rooftops and remind everyone why they fell in love with your brand to begin with.
This right here, this is the company's core belief. They know they're not for everyone, and that's okay. They're for the person who can really taste the difference, who appreciates the craftsmanship, and who understands that sometimes you get what you pay for.
And that word discerning is so important here. It means someone who has good judgment, especially about things like taste. A discerning customer isn't just looking at the price. They're paying attention to the details, the aroma, the flavor notes, the perfect foam on a latte. That is who this brand is for.
And look, this isn't just talk. They can back it up. They have these amazing artisan roasted beans that nobody else has. They've invested a ton of money in the best equipment you can buy, and they're totally confident that if you put their coffee in a blind taste test, it's going to win every single time. These are the facts that support their premium price.
Now, all this focus on quality does something really powerful. It builds more than just a good product. It builds a powerhouse brand. It's how you become the first name people think of.
Which brings us to this key marketing idea, top-of-mind awareness. This is like the holy grail for a brand. It means that when I say a category, like premium coffee, your brand is the very first one that pops into a person's head. That is an incredibly powerful place to be.
Let's try a quick experiment. I say luxury car. What's the first brand that came to mind? Or how about electric car? Or search engine? See? That name that just jumped into your head, that's not an accident. That is top-of-mind awareness at work, and it's worth a fortune.
And our coffee company, they've done it. By being obsessed with quality, they've become the default answer for where can I get the best cup of coffee around here? That's a position you absolutely do not want to give up just to become another discount brand.
Okay,
So, the decision is made, no price war. But the problem is still there, right? Customers are still short on cash. So what now? This is where the great brands really shine. They don't compromise. They get creative. They don't change who they are. They rethink how they deliver their value.
And the first step is to figure out their core competency. This is a super important concept. It's not just what you're good at, it's the one central thing you do better than literally anyone else. It's your secret sauce. And for a coffee shop, it isn't the comfy chairs or the free Wi-Fi. It's the beans themselves. That's their superpower.
So check out how their thought process works. First, they zero in on that core competency, our amazing, one-of-a-kind beans. That's the hill they'll die on. Then comes the light bulb moment. If people can't afford to come to us every day, why don't we bring the best part of our experience to them? Let's sell them the beans to brew at home. It's brilliant. It respects their customers' budgets without sacrificing an ounce of quality. But, and this is so important, they ask the tough follow-up question. Does this hurt our main business? Does selling beans make the in-cafe experience feel less special? They're really thinking it through.
And this whole creative solution brings us to the final, and honestly, the most important idea of all. It's the principle that should be at the heart of every great company.
When you boil it all down, it comes to this. It's simple, but it's everything. Their customers still want that amazing coffee. They just can't afford the $5 latte every single day right now. This new plan meets them where they are. It's about listening and adapting, not giving up on them.
And that is the big takeaway here. When things get tough, the knee-jerk reaction is to cut prices. But the better answer was to get creative, to realize that your loyal customers still want the best from you. They just might need it in a different package. The real secret is to innovate how you deliver your value without ever compromising who you are.
So I'll leave you with this question to think about. What are the brands that you are absolutely loyal to? The ones you'd stick with through thick and thin. And why? Is it because they're the cheapest, or is it something more? Is it about trust, about quality, or because they found a creative way to stay a part of your life? It kind of makes you think, doesn't it?